On July 29, 2016, what started as an ordinary evening for two sisters in Argentina quickly spiraled into a nightmare that would expose deep-seated family secrets and culminate in a tragic loss. Gabriela Verel, an 18-year-old girl of Bolivian descent living in Argentina, and her younger sister, Sonilda, had made plans to visit a nearby internet cafe to complete their schoolwork. In their modest household, where internet access was non-existent, these trips had become a staple of their routine, allowing them to stay connected to the outside world and keep up with academic demands. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky around 6 p.m., the sisters stepped out of their home, chatting casually as they walked the familiar blocks toward their destination. No one in the family raised an eyebrow at their departure. It was just another typical outing for the pair. However, only a few blocks into their journey, Gabriela abruptly altered her plans. She turned to Sonilda and explained that she wouldn't be joining her at the cafe after all. Instead, she intended to meet up with her boyfriend, a decision that caught Sonilda off guard, but didn't spark any immediate alarm. Gabriela had ventured off on her own before, displaying the independence typical of a teenager navigating the complexities of young adulthood. With a reassuring promise that she would return soon, Gabriela veered off in the opposite direction, disappearing around a corner. That fleeting moment marked the last time Sonilda would ever see her sister alive. Sonilda continued to the cafe alone, immersing herself in her assignments as the evening wore on. Following his separation from Elizabeth, Nestor relocated to a modest boarding house nearby, a move initially viewed as a logical post-divorce step. However, this transition heralded subtle shifts in his behavior, though they went unnoticed at first. Despite no longer sharing a roof, he maintained contact with the family, particularly Gabriela. Over time, observers noted increasingly frequent private encounters between them in neutral settings. Neighbors recalled unsettling sightings, such as Gabriela sitting on Nestor's lap during a bus ride, with him stroking her hair, a scene that prompted discomfort but no immediate intervention due to fears of familial fallout. Other accounts placed Gabriela near the boarding house, entering for hours at a time before departing discreetly. Given Nestor's prior familial ties, these interactions evaded scrutiny. Trust in established roles shielded them from alarm. Gabriela never disclosed these visits, and her family, assuming she was with peers or on errands, didn't monitor her closely. Investigations later revealed that many meetings occurred in Nestor's rented room, evolving from familial to something far more inappropriate. The relationship reportedly began when Gabriela was only 13, with Nestor, a married adult in a position of authority, exploiting his trusted status. Compounding these practical hurdles was a profound emotional isolation. Gabriela's voice often went unheard, her needs sidelined amid the household's chaos. Even among relatives, she felt like an outsider, disconnected from the familial core. Her relationship with Liliana lacked overt conflict, but her mother's overwhelming responsibilities blinded her to Gabriela's silent struggles. Similarly, her bond with stepfather Caesar was dutiful but distant, lacking genuine warmth. Over time, these dynamics fostered a pervasive sense of loneliness, trapping Gabriela in a cycle where self-reliance became her only path forward. The absence of emotional support and resources stifled her growth, transforming her quest for independence into an urgent necessity that influenced her every decision. It was within this backdrop of vulnerability that Nestor Quintana entered the narrative in a profoundly disturbing way. Born in 1986, Nestor was married to Elizabeth Cham, Gabriela's maternal aunt, integrating him into the family fold. He resided in the same household, participating in daily life without drawing suspicion. Employed by the Argentine Prefecture, a federal security agency, Nestor projected an image of reliability, calm, helpful, and unassuming. He assisted with chores, attended gatherings, and blended seamlessly into the family routine, never raising red flags. As a teenager, Gabriela grappled with the universal trials of adolescence, amplified by the lack of privacy and personal space in her home. The cramped quarters offered no sanctuary for rest or focused study, intensifying her frustrations. She harbored a dream of relocating to live with her biological father, who resided separately with his own family. However, this aspiration remained unfulfilled. His communication was sporadic at best, hampered by his personal challenges. The accumulating pressure at home eventually reached a breaking point, prompting Gabriella and Sunilda to flee temporarily to the home of their paternal aunt, Marisol. This impromptu escape lacked long-term planning but served as a stark signal of underlying distress. Their week-long stay with Marisol provided a brief respite, a calmer environment with less stringent oversight. Yet, upon returning to their mother's house, the sisters found themselves thrust back into the familiar cycle of stress and emotional strain. Despite her reserved demeanor, Gabriella exhibited budding independence. She favored simple attire, shunned attention-seeking behaviors, and avoided rowdy social circles. Beneath this quiet exterior lay ambitions for a self-determined future, though limited resources hindered her pursuits. Without a home computer or reliable internet, even routine school tasks necessitated trips to the cafe, adding layers of planning and potential conflict. By the following morning, the reality of Gabriella's disappearance had solidified. Her phone remained active, yet all attempts to reach her went unanswered, fueling a sense of dread. The household atmosphere shifted from tense to frantic as loved ones frantically contacted relatives, friends, and even Gabriella's biological father, hoping for any clue. But the responses were unanimous. No one had seen or heard from her. It was as though she had vanished into thin air, leaving behind only unanswered questions and mounting fear. Desperate for action, Liliana turned to local authorities, filing an official missing person report. Flyers bearing Gabriella's photo and description soon dotted the streets, while friends, neighbors, and even strangers rallied to join the search efforts. Despite the community's involvement, no sightings emerged after that pivotal corner turn. Gabriella Verel had entered the world in 1998 in Argentina, born to parents of Bolivian heritage. Her early years were marked by upheaval when her mother and father separated when she was just 6 years old. Following the split, Gabriella remained with her mother, Liliana, and gradually came to view Cesar Garcia, Liliana's new partner, as a stepfather figure. The household expanded to include Sunilda and other relatives from Liliana's side, creating a crowded living environment that often brimmed with tension. Financial stability was a constant struggle. The family scraped by to meet basic needs, but emotional harmony proved elusive. Disagreements flared frequently, particularly between Gabriella and her grandmother, whose clashes transcended typical familial spats and deepened Gabriella's sense of alienation. As night enveloped the neighborhood, Sunilda returned home, expecting to find Gabriella already there or arriving shortly after. But the house remained quiet, with no sign of her sister's return. Initially, the family dismissed any worry. Teenagers often lingered out late, especially during the carefree days of summer. Yet, as the hours ticked by without a word, unease began to creep in. Their mother, Liliana Cham, reached for her phone and dialed Gabriella's number repeatedly, only to be met with endless ringing. Messages sent via WhatsApp lingered unread at first, then mysteriously showed as seen,